Nirmala was like the soft light of dawn, gentle, hopeful, and full of quiet dreams. She lived with her parents in a small but loving home. Her father was an honest man, respected in society, and deeply devoted to his daughter. He wanted her life to be better than his, to be filled with happiness, comfort, and dignity. When Nirmala reached marriageable age, her father found a suitable match, a young, educated man from a good family. The preparations began. The house buzzed with excitement. Relatives came and went, discussing arrangements, clothes, jewelry, and, of course, dowry. Nirmala listened quietly, her cheeks blushing whenever someone mentioned her future husband. She had never seen him, but in her imagination, he was kind, gentle, and close to her age, someone she could laugh with, grow with, and share her life with. Everything seemed perfect. But sometimes, life changes in a single moment. Just days before the wedding, tragedy struck. Nirmala's father died suddenly. The house that had been filled with laughter fell into silence. The wedding songs stopped. The decorations lost their meaning. Her mother was left shattered, not just emotionally, but financially too. Without her father, the promised dowry became impossible. And in that moment, society revealed its harshest face. The groom's family, who once seemed so respectable, withdrew from the marriage. Their reason was simple and cruel: no dowry, no wedding. Nirmala's dreams collapsed before they could even begin. Her mother now faced a terrifying reality. In their society, an unmarried daughter was not just a concern, it was a burden, a constant source of anxiety and social pressure. Relatives began to whisper, "Find a match quickly. Compromise if needed. Time is running out." Under this pressure, her mother made a decision, one that would change Nirmala's life forever. A proposal came from Totaram, a widower much older than Nirmala. He had 3 sons and needed someone to manage his household. He was financially stable, respectable, and willing to marry without a heavy dowry. For Nirmala's mother, this seemed like a blessing. For Nirmala, it felt like the end of everything she had imagined. She didn't protest. She didn't argue. She simply accepted. Because in her world, daughters were not taught to choose, they were taught to obey. After marriage, Nirmala entered a new home not as a young bride stepping into a romantic life, but as a wife to an older man and a stepmother to his children. Totaram was not a bad man. He was kind, responsible, and tried to treat Nirmala well. But there was a gap between them, a gap of age, of understanding, of emotion. Nirmala respected him, but she could not connect with him as a wife truly would. His house became her duty, not her dream. Among Totaram's sons, the eldest, Mansaram, was closest to Nirmala in age. He was intelligent, polite, and sensitive. Unlike others, he treated Nirmala with genuine respect, not just as a stepmother, but as a person. Slowly, a quiet bond formed between them. They would talk about studies, books, and life. There was comfort in their conversations, a natural ease that came from being of similar age and mindset. There was nothing wrong in their bond. But sometimes, innocence is misunderstood by those who are afraid. Totaram began to notice their closeness. At first, it was a fleeting thought. Then it became a doubt. And slowly, it turned into suspicion. He began to question everything: their conversations, their glances, their presence in the same space. His mind filled in stories that did not exist. How can a young woman and a young man live together without something inappropriate happening? This thought began to poison his mind. Nirmala remained unaware of this change. She continued her life with quiet dedication, managing the house, caring for the children, fulfilling her responsibilities without complaint. But Totaram's behavior began to change. He grew distant, irritable, silent. The warmth that could have grown between them was replaced by mistrust. Finally, unable to bear his own thoughts, Totaram made a decision. He sent Mansaram away to a hostel, saying it was for his studies. Mansaram was confused. He had done nothing wrong. But he obeyed his father without question. Nirmala felt a deep sadness. She didn't fully understand why his departure affected her so much, but the house felt emptier without him. A quiet loneliness settled over everything. Life at the hostel was not kind to Mansaram. He missed home. He missed the comfort of familiar faces. He missed the warmth that Nirmala had unknowingly given him. Slowly, he began to fall ill. At first, it seemed minor. But his condition worsened. Letters were sent home. Back in the house, Nirmala grew worried. She urged Totaram to bring Mansaram back. "He is not well," she said softly. "He needs care." But Totaram hesitated. His suspicion still lingered. What if bringing him back creates the same situation again, he thought. Days passed. Mansaram's health declined further. Finally, Totaram decided to visit him. What he saw broke him completely. Mansaram lay weak, pale, and barely alive. His once bright eyes had lost their light. Totaram called out to him, his voice trembling. But it was too late. Mansaram died far from home, far from comfort, carrying the weight of rejection and loneliness. Totaram's world collapsed. In that moment, he realized the truth. There had been no wrongdoing. No betrayal. Only his own suspicion. And that suspicion had cost him his son. Back home, Nirmala was devastated when she heard the news. She cried not just for Mansaram, but for something deeper she could not name. Guilt, sorrow, and confusion filled her heart. The house was now filled with silence and regret. But the tragedy did not end there. Totaram, though broken, could not fully escape his nature. His suspicion, though weakened, still lingered in shadows. It began to affect his relationship with his other sons. The family slowly began to fall apart. One son became distant. Another grew rebellious. The bond that held them together weakened day by day. Nirmala tried her best to bring peace to the household. She cared for everyone. She sacrificed her own comfort. She remained patient, even when blamed or misunderstood. But some wounds are too deep to heal. Over time, the constant stress, emotional pain, and loneliness began to affect Nirmala's health. She grew weaker. Her once bright presence faded into quiet suffering. She had entered the house as a young girl with dreams. Now she was a woman carrying the weight of a broken family. In her final days, Nirmala lay on her bed, her body frail, her voice soft. There were no complaints. No accusations. Only silence. Totaram sat beside her, overwhelmed with regret. He wanted to ask for forgiveness for his doubt, his decisions, his blindness. But some apologies come too late. Nirmala passed away quietly, just as she had lived, without making noise, without demanding anything. Her life had been shaped by forces beyond her control: dowry, social pressure, forced marriage, and mistrust. She had done nothing wrong. Yet she had suffered everything. Life at the hostel was not kind to Mansaram. He missed home. He missed the comfort of familiar faces. He missed the warmth that Nirmala had unknowingly given him. Slowly,